Good morning. Welcome to speakers and fellow students to our first slide for today, a grand career talk by alumni for the Aerospace and Mechanical Automotive Engineering majoring. The objective of this slide is to expose students to the current work practices as opposed to the mainly theoretical knowledge being taught in the university. First, let me introduce to our speakers for this slide. Sister Razida binti Ahmad, a graduated student of Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering, IIUM, who is now working as Senior Planning and Scheduling Engineering. Second, Dr. Muhammad Anafi bin Hazami, who studied in Aerospace Engineering, Doctor of Philosophy in University of Cranfield. He works as Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. So our last speaker, Brother Afif bin Badrul Hisham, he took Bachelor of Engineering in Manufacturing, IIUM, and currently works as Head of Business Development at Singularity Aerotech Asia. Students, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat box, or you can save them for the Q&A session later. The registration form will be provided in the chat box. Students are required to fill it in. Without further ado, I would like to invite our first speaker, Sister Razida binti Ahmad, to deliver her talk for today. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, but then first of all, I think Brother Hanafi and Brother Afif will agree with me. I would like that every student to open the videos for us to see rather than just a blank pictures with names.
Yes, indeed. We don't want to speak in front of the screen. You see.
Yeah, exactly. So we appreciate all before I start my sharing. Because we want to make it like a CaFE, right? So we are not talking to the wall, we're talking to people. So people have faces. And this is also one tips of when you are attending interviews. Don't let your interviewer ask you to open the video. Instead, you start and open the video once you enter the session.
Yes, indeed.
Because it's represent you. All right, I still see few faces that haven't yet put on. Another one would be like a bossy or grumpy or something, but then it's just like an advice. All right. Okay, sorry to take few minutes. All right. Okay, without further ado, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. I'm a resident Ahmad. I'm age 39 years old. I'm graduate into 26. From IUM, and after that I tried to get master degree in UTM, but then I get pregnant, so I stopped the study. So my father get very angry because I just pull it halfway, and I was thinking like 25,000 I paid by my own pocket money. So he's really angry with that. But I'm not regret, because after that I'm a mother of two, and I can take care of my girls more time with my girls rather than focus on my thesis and assignment at that time. Quite regret because it's a final year actually. Even my lecturer keep on asking whether I want to redo again my master, but then maybe once I retire I will get back to have a study. Okay, currently I'm working with BSF Chemical at Gebeng. Anyone from Kuantan or from Pahang? So should know where is.
Yes.
I just joined chemical industry actually. Before that, I was with oil and gas upstream. There is in oil and gas we have upstream and downstream. So before this, I was in upstream, so I tried to challenge myself rather than doing something that I know, so to go something that is different. So I start my career when I was final year student. I start apply jobs when I was final year student. I'm asking for a transcript, temporary transcript from a student affairs department. So I start applying job that time. So basically I start working before I graduate.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Boleh lah that time.
Boleh? That time boleh, yes.
I see.
So it's a jingle because I have to complete the final year project as well as attending my job. So at that time I was project engineer with Tiong Groups. They have a new division for machinery. So they are building cranes, towers and all those stuff with mechanical things. So I'm a design engineer as well as the project engineer. So I travel a lot at that time, going to Perak, going to Penang, going to Singapore, everywhere. At the same time, I have to finish my final year project. It's quite fun because at that time you are young, you don't have things that to do. So
But
my mother was,
sorry to interrupt you. How do you apply for a job if you don't have the scroll and the transcript?
cannot. You have to have at least the temporary from student affairs department.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Partial
most of
transcript.
partial
Partial transcript.
So ask for the transcript from student affairs. There is a form and not everyone knows, but then luckily I knows. So I can graduate with my money rather than asking for my parents' money to go to for convocation. But then my mother was so angry again because I hardly be at home because I'm working and as well as I'm attending my final year project. So I got my high up at IIUM Mahala, so no big deal, and the company provide me cars. So again, it's a good thing for me. So and then after 2 years with Tiong Group, my father asked me to come back to Johor. So at that time there is an open interview with MECSA. So I just go to the interview for the sake of my father asking. I don't know what is oil and gas sectors, what is it? I just know about factory and construction. So I was mainly goes for construction. My idea is to go and design. But then I just went to the interview for the sake of my father's. So, and I got passed at the first interview. And then there's a start with my career in oil and gas, which is planning engineer. I don't know actually when I'll be joining, what is a planning engineer? It's really, I don't have any idea what is a planning engineer. Anyone knows what is planning engineer? So you can switch on your mic.
Is it like because project manager, something like that?
Yeah, we assist project manager. We like a right hand for the project manager. Exactly. My first supervisor at that time is Filipinos. We have communication issues, we have racism issues, and most of that time oil and gas, they have like either Filipinos or Indian, hardly to find a local planning engineer at that time. One is because they are cheap and other one is because they are used in the market. So there is a 6 of us at that time as a fresh graduate that was selected from MECSA. Vast open interview is like 1,000 people applying for that one. So 6 people were assigned as a planning engineer. So we go trainings for Primavera, for Microsoft Excel, and for all those stuff. And then I've been assigned for a few projects. So my first project is Turkmenistan. At that time, people were asking, were thinking I was intern. So no one cares. No one cares about me. So, but then you still get assignment, you know, you still have to do job, and you still have your manager still expecting something from you. So, but then I challenge myself. So I get mingle with everyone. I go side. You need to, as a fresh graduate, don't keep on waiting. Don't keep on waiting for people to assign you or something. You need to go and seek. What I noticed nowadays when I was joining any company, because I keep on moving company, So usually fresh graduate was keep on as you are in school. You are waiting for your supervisor to give you assignment, to ask you what to do, rather than you go.
Be
I mean,
proactive.
be proactive. Because I meet one of the fresh graduate when last before I'm joining the Gepeng. So I was with RNZ Engineering. So there is a one fresh graduate, and then she kept on asking. She was boring with what she's doing, and then I asked her, "Do you know what were you doing?" She know, "Oh, you okay? I just updating my schedule. I just doing the report." So and then I said to you, "Do you know that planning engineer is actually a vast thing, because you are right hand, you kind of advisor. You are checking on the risk, you are checking on the schedule. You make it within the cost, and you make it within the time, and you kind of like a second eyes of the project manager. You know, you need work hand to hand." And then that project is like a detailed design, so it's a big project, because you start a design from a scratch, from the basic design to have a details. So and then I asked her one thing. She kept on adapting on the drawing, so I know. I asked her, "Do you know what is the drawing that you're updating?" She got no idea at all. She just received the report from the engineer, updating in the system, and come up with a report. I said, last time when I was in at your position, when I was fresh graduate, I going back at 10 because you are free. You don't have any commitment. So even my mother keep on asking, why don't you just sleep in the office rather than come back at home? Because I learn a lot of things. So I meet with people. So even I cross over the boundary. So even though I'm an engineer, but then I go to buyers. Why this equipment come late rather than my requirement to be in October? And then you get back to detail, and then you can find the root cause. And rather than along the way, you learn a lot of things, and people knows you. When people knows you, you make a networking. And networking in working is very, very important. Okay, I have one story. When I was in SBM in 2009, that is this very bad time for oil and gas. No, 2012. So it's very bad time. Price go down. So a lot of jobs cancelled. I was supposed to be assigned to Kaombo project, SBM. But then they lost the job to Saipem, one of the big company. And I got retrenched because first in, last out. So I'm among the new faces. So because of the networking, to be said that I managed to join Kaombo as a client. Can you see that?
Yep.
Rather than you make it as a contractor, you go up the client. A friend of mine just called me, okay, client required a planning engineer at their yard in Singapore. So just apply. So I will give you the recommendation. So I got the job. So networking is very important. But how you want to be a networking if you just keep staying and looking for people to come to you? So you need to show your effort. You need to show your desire. You need to show something special from you, rather than you are waiting. You know, don't be like a machine. I know it's in class, you just see it and take a notes, be a machine. But in the real world, it's more than just a machine. Even though you are dealing with machine, but then it's more than a machine. Because even if you come to the production, you manage the production line, you have a drawings. How come the drawings come out? It must be from an engineer. And the engineer cannot come out the drawing from a machine. It's from their brain. You not just simply like, okay, the machine must start button and then get the screw in, blah, blah, blah. No. Get knows what behind it. So, and then if something wrong with your product, you knows what to do, you knows where to go, and you have a fast action rather than waiting to the top engineers, the design engineer, to come back with a solution. At least you have a fast mitigation before the machine collapse. You can see that one or something. Okay. I think that is the most important with the fresh engineer. I've been in ECHA in 2019, and I brainstorming the same that I give to you to the fresh graduate, And you know what? He take my advice and he become the selected one to go to Norway as a company representative for the factory inspection. Because he's the one who knows the drawing, he's the one who knows the plan, he's the one who knows what behind it, what is the management one. And he's a fresh graduate. People see his potential rather than sending a senior, which have a lot of things to think at side. So they send him as a rep. So because he knows he has the same idea with the seniors. So why should send the seniors? You can send the fresh graduate. Yeah. It's a first thing I know. Even when I come to office, you know no ones, you have no idea what were you doing, but then just start with a small talk. Okay, my name is who? Okay, I'm fresh. So I know nothing. Agree with something. You know, like you have to go down because you are a fresh graduate. And once a while, don't be ashamed to argue. You know, like, okay, I'm studying this one. Why it was come out when the design is become like this? You can query. As a senior, we don't blame. We don't have something, angry, no. Because sometimes we make a mistake because we keep on doing the same thing, repeating. Maybe we forgot a basic thing. So have a fresh, I usually prefer to have at least one fresh graduate in my team.
Why?
Why? One is because easily to get bullied.
No, not bully.
They will do,
to train him.
Everything. And one thing is because they are young. We expect young to be enthusiasm.
Energy, they have energy.
Yeah, they have energy. And like seniors, we have a lot of things. We have families, we have thinking about financial issue, we sometimes thinking about politics, all those crap. So it's a lot of things. So as a fresh graduate, you are having something like eager. Okay. That's one thing. And challenges and obstacles is everywhere. Don't mind. Why I'm choosing engineering? Actually, my first ambitions, I was thinking to be a doctor. But then when I was 10, my father got involved with accidents and he has open wound. I was so afraid with the blood. So after that, I pulling out. So okay, I cannot be a doctor. Seriously.
Takut darah.
Yes.
Phobia with the blood.
Yes, I was like, oh no, I cannot be a doctor. And after that, I switched to engineering. And why I choose automotive and mechanical rather than others? Because that's the only subject that don't have electronics so much.
But your job is still deal with this electronics and electrical, right?
Exactly. I have to read the PNIDs and all those. It was like, cannot escape. But at that time, I was thinking, electronics was so complicated. So I just took mechanical, a lot of hands-on, and we go to workshop almost every day. And but then again, I did a mistake. When I joined you now, we did a cranes. I have a phobia of height. So we built crane and install it 50 meters above. I get up to the sky crane and then walking at the beams to watch the supervisor install the crane. Was like, my heart stopped. At that time, I was thinking, okay, I should change another job. But then I didn't. It was like a satisfaction when you see your product complete, when you have put all your sweat into it. So I overcome my fear at that one. So even when in oil and gas, I go up to ship. So we have to do inspection on the ship. So the gangway is like 20 meters height. So there is a supervisor waiting outside. So looking if I slip my feet if keep on walking because I'm phobia of height. But then the challenges is something that you can overcome. No worries. But then the problem is always that having a challenge most is your attitude. Your attitude. Because your attitude is only you and your stubbornness and your mind, because it's belong to you. Other than you can easily overcome. It's easy. It's come and goes. Okay, what? Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. I don't have much sharing.
Thank you so much, Sister Razida, for all the tips.
Okay.
I hope we can learn something from it.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yes, inshallah.
Next,
Well, will be better than me, maybe best.
inshallah. Next, we are moving on to our second speaker, Dr. Muhammad Hanafi bin
Oh, saya
Azami,
pula.
to deliver his speech for today. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. First of all, thank you my ex-student, Sister Najiha, as a MC, and then MECSA engineers for inviting me. My colleague, Mr. Afif, and then my senior, Madam Razida. Okay. Thank you for joining this session. Okay. First of all, welcome, brothers and sisters, to, I think most of you, I know most of you here, you are my students before, mashallah. Okay, so you have to hear me a second time. Okay, second and third time lah, abel semua. All right. First of all, myself, and other two panels, Madam Razida as well as Mr. Afif, they are in industry. Okay, so myself as an academician, so a different perspective. Okay, so you have to look into yourself. Okay, when you graduated, not when, before you graduated, you should decide which line, which pathway that you want to go. Whether you want to be an engineer, work in the industry, or you want to be a researcher or academician. Okay.
Sorry, Brother Hanafi. And
Yeah.
I think today panels is a good, because I'm kind of go in because industry also you have to path, you have to choose whether you want to climb a managerial ladder or you want to be a subject matter expert. So I was keen to the subject matter expert, and Brother Afif is climbing the ladder. So you are all very lucky because you get the all views actually.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so I'm in academician, okay, researcher. So there is no shortcut to be a researcher, except you have to finish until up to PhD level. If you, of course, if you want to work as a lecturer in a public university, okay. If you want to work in what do you call it, University Swasta, IPTS, okay, IPTS, private university, you can go up to masters is fine to teach bachelor level as well as diploma. But if you want to teach in a public university, degree level, master's level, so you must have a PhD. Okay, so a little bit background of myself. Okay, yes, I graduated. I think I'm the most junior between both of you. I graduated in 2010. Okay, so I did my degree 2006 until 2010, aerospace. So during the time of Prof. Yulfian, Prof. Waka, now Prof. Waka is here, still around. All right. Okay, Prof. Haris. Okay, so 2006 and 2010. So frankly speaking, during my study, I didn't really look into my CGPA. No. Okay, I only know whether I pass or fail the course. Okay, only that. Until towards the final year, level 4, the 4th year, I found out, okay, CGPA is important. Okay, to secure a job. Okay, fine. So when I look at my CGPA, oh, it's good, alhamdulillah, mashallah. So until I my final semester, Prof. Waka offered me a job. Okay, we want to offer you, please come and join us and academic staff, but please finish up until PhD. We will give you a scholarship and etc. First of all, okay, just follow the flow. Like Madam Razida, so she worked. Okay, she worked during her FYP, but me myself, I finished my FYP before I graduated. Okay, so when I took the job as an what do you call it, academic trainee, So they sent me to Germany to do my master's, but I got married final semester. Okay, I got married final semester, and my wife, she got pregnant. So when we went to Germany, I cannot enroll there. See, that's the I
Same
was
issue, same issue.
so I've been there in Germany for 2 or 3 weeks, so I cannot enroll to the university. Why? Because I cannot get the health insurance. My wife, she was pregnant since in Malaysia. So what to do? So whether I send her back or both of us go back. Okay, since this is very junior, maybe later, inshallah, I'm going to have another opportunity to go to overseas. So both of us go back. Okay, we went back to Malaysia and do my master's under Dr. Raed Ismail Kafafi. So that is the first time I my journey in rocket propulsion. Okay, rocket propulsion. So Dr. Raed taught me so much about rocket propulsion until I finished my master's degree for 2.5 years. You see, a long way. You can finish your master's in 1.5 years. So unfortunately, because I don't know what this research is all about. Okay, so I took the experience. About research, what is research, and etc. And then later on, I further my study in Cranfield University. Or if you want to study abroad, please make sure you have a proper preparation to deal with outside people, okay, foreigners and etc. Because we are foreigners, so you have to be prepared. So I applied at least 34 universities, okay, to get a placement. So until at the final stage, alhamdulillah, I managed to get into Cranfield. So Cranfield University, I managed to finish my PhD in less than 3 years, alhamdulillah, and come back and join IOM in 2017. So that is me, a little bit background of myself. So, yep. So when you come back, okay, be an academician. Why I want to be an academician is because number one, I can control my time. Why I can control my time? Because it is up to you. It is up to you. You want to work now or later. Of course, the class is by default lah. Teaching is default. Teaching is default. You must teach. That is the purpose of to be a lecturer. Okay. Another thing is research. To be a lecturer, okay, if you want to be a researcher or lecturer, it is very dynamic. It is very dynamic. You can go anywhere. You can do research, you can do publication, you can write papers, you can supervise people. You teach is a must lah, okay? And then consultancy, and then supervision lah. There are 6 things, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So so you can choose which path you want to go, but you must have the the sense of curiosity, high curiosity. The attitude of a lecturer is they want to know, inquire. They inquire more. They want to learn something. They want to make something. Okay, this is research. Research is different, totally different environment like you are in undergraduate. Totally different. So that is academician. That is academician. You choose what you want to be. So my advice for you, my fellow students, okay, if you want to further study, make sure you have 2 things. One is minat. Minat means interest. Okay, minat. And then the second thing, mampu, ability. Okay, ability not just in terms of financial sahaja. You must have ability in terms of your IQ, intellectual. Okay, in how do you see things? How do you solve things? Okay, that inquiry, that big inquiry, why, how things work, you must have this thing. So that 2 things. Okay, so minat tadi, interest tadi tu, minat, that drive motivation. Okay, if you minat, if you interest something, you must be happy. And then if you have passion, ada minat tu, you have passionate to do this thing. So minat and mampu, interest and ability. So these 2 things, if you want to further your study. Okay, and then how to increase a stand out among the people. Okay, senang je. buat muka tak malu. Muka kena tebal. Stand out macam mana? Muka kena tebal. Macam like Madam Razina, I don't know her that much. So yeah, tengok macam kawan je. So muka kena tebal. You must be like that. You must be approachable. Macam Mr. Afif, he's now a big guy. So I am talking to a big guy, you see. So selamba je. But hormat tu mesti ada, respect tu mesti ada lah. Okay, muka kena nak stand up macam tu. Okay, so and then another thing, how to stand up. Okay, like Madam Razida saying that networking. Bila dah muka tak malu tu, muka tebal tu, you must be able to speak. Bagi je idea apa-apa. Macam Madam Razida, dia punya background is mechanical. So I'm in aerospace. So, fine, tak apa, tapi kita boleh bercakap. Kita cakap je, kita pinpoint apa benda. Itu saja cara nak merapatkan. You want to engage with people. Cari benda yang interest, yang spark, okay, supaya you boleh buat kawan. You can meet each other. Okay, so muka tak malu, muka tebal, approachable, and then yang nombor 3 nak stand out is cari persamaan. Find the similarity between both of you. Bila you bercakap lah, okay, similarity supaya so that you have topic to talk to each other. Okay, ni semua skill and networking lah. This is all the soft skill lah, all the soft skill. So this is how you stand out. Okay, stand out. Tak kira lah time interview ke apa-apa ke, itulah cara dia. Okay, so and then apa challenge dia to be an academician is, of course, in terms of apa nama ni, to get the PhD, to get the masters, to get rejected, that's fine. To your paper being rejected, and then to do what you call it, to do things yang bukan kita punya comfort zone. It's not your cheese. Okay, you must be able to do this. Okay, you must be able to adapt yourself as soon as possible. Bila you pindah, when you work, or maybe you're in different environment, for example from undergraduate to postgraduate, you must be able to adapt yourself as soon as possible. You must evolve. Okay, adapt yourself as soon as possible. Why? Because when you dah selesa, when you're comfort with a new environment, barulah you can work. Okay, baru you can study, you can belajar, and you can do the research. Okay, tu yang ketiga lah. Yang keempat, okay, you must be very disciplined. Discipline in such a sense that, okay, when you study of your postgraduate, okay, when you study, okay, discipline, say from 8:30 to 3 o'clock is your study time, your research time. Please do so. So during my PhD, I did the same thing. Okay, kenapa? Why I finished my degree before 3 years is like this. I only study from 8:30 until 3:30. Purely study, and I only stop during the Zuhur prayer, and I took my lunch in the library. So setiap hari 8:30, 3:30, 8:30, 3:30 every day. Tetapi during my other time, including during my weekend, I spend with my family. So if you have this kind of discipline, insya-Allah adalah tu rezeki. Okay, tu yang keempat. Yang kelima, nak stand on employability ni, okay, please help other people. Please help other people, because we don't know how Allah will help you. We don't know how Allah, tak kira lah, help other people in terms of what? In terms of, kalau you don't have money, okay, you can help people in terms of your masa lah, your time, okay, your kederat, your energy and etc. Please help other people. Okay, that will be the magnet to pull the rizki from Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. So, brothers and sisters, please, I would like you to remind this very carefully. When university, it is not a factory to produce workers. Tak. University is an agent of change to produce human having this holistic excellence. Okay, excellence in terms of what? In terms of your intellectual, in terms of your attitude. Your degree is only a piece of paper, but your apa nama ni, your education describe your behavior. Itu yang penting tu. Okay, your curriculum tu yang belajar dekat kelas, all those introduction to fly, apa nama ni, aerospace propulsion control, all those technical jargon engineering courses, yes, that want to what they call it, test your intellect. Other than that, which is extra curriculum activities, please join like clubs. Please join clubs. Tak kira lah, is it inside the department or in the kuliah clubs or maybe in the central club. Meet other people. Try to communicate how to organize an event, how to write proposal. All those skills we didn't teach you in the class. We only teach you in the class all this intellect, formulas, how to solve problem, and etc. Other thing you have to search on your own. We don't pinpoint you. Okay, all right, that is additional skill. Communication kah, writing skill kah, how you view things kah, leadership skill kah, everything, it is extra curriculum activity. Please grab those skills during your university. Like I said, university is not a factory to provide workers sahaja. We in the university is an agent of change for you to be this kind of human to holistic excellence human being. Okay, all right, okay, students, 20-25, I have another 4 minutes. Sister Najihah, please stop me. That's why lecturer ni dia tak boleh bagi microphone, and then dia terlajak banyak. Okay, make sure, all right, okay. Lagi challenging time if you want to further your study, okay, is you must make many plan. You must have plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D. Okay, and then when you want to further study, make sure you know your supervisor very well. You must select your supervisor very well. You must know him, how many people graduated from him, how many students under him, whether he has a grant or not. And if you want to go to study abroad, make sure when you want to know your supervisor, his inclination to family student with family, student family dah kahwin lah, married student with kids, and inclination to Islam. You must know this, okay? Or else, because it is like a contract marriage, okay? If you want to further your study with your supervisor, pass is by him, fail is because of him as well. Itu yang masalahnya. That's challenging. But another challenging is, number 2 is, of course, you will feel the jealousy. When I took my masters, my friends, my colleague, they are working in industry. They have a business card. They have appointment to meet the client. So travel everywhere here and there. Me, myself, only in the classroom meeting my supervisor only. I have no business card. I don't have a good, good client. I don't go meeting outside, outstation, and etc. So you have to bear 5 or 6 years. Okay, and then after that, insyaAllah, itu dinamakan rezeki tertangguh lah, rezeki tertangguh. And after that, insyaAllah, when you have your PhD, when you have your degree, you becoming a matter of expert. Okay, so itu je lah yang challengingnya. Satu berkenaan dengan for the study, and then number 2, macam mana, how do you manage to control your emotion to see other people, itulah envy, okay, yourself, okay. Please don't, when you do your PG, make sure you don't compare yourself with other people. That is important, because you are responsible to choose your supervisor, that person. So don't compare your supervisor with your friend's supervisor. Okay, all right. So I think that is additional skill dah cakap tadi, soft skills, stand out, okay, challenging moment, and etc. Okay, I think that is all from me, Sister Najihah. Is it okay? All right. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Dr. Muhammad Hanafi. I hope all of you can take all the advice from him. Now, I would like to invite to our last speaker for today, Brother Afif bin Badrul Hisham to deliver his talk. Please welcome.
Thank you very much, Sister Natiha, and thank you to Sister Razidah today, and also Dr. Hanafi. The challenge of being the last speaker is that most of the good points have been taken. Right? That is the story of my life. Okay, but it's okay. It's okay. I think I do have something that I can share as well, and I also have another dilemma because somebody from the manufacturing department texted me, "Oi, kau buat apa kat sana?" Because I'm supposed to be in manufacturing, right? Because I graduated from manufacturing. So yeah, so that's why you can see I was a bit, I was actually reading some text from the other side. So I promised them that I will go to them the next time. Okay, but today I'll be spending time with the aero students. Okay, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. My name is Afif, and I graduated from UIA. In fact, Dr. Hanafi and I, we were sort of like in the same period when we were in UIA, right? I graduated in 2009 in manufacturing, right? And I've been in aerospace, I think right now for about almost 10 years now, right? 9 to 10 years in aerospace industry. And right now I'm the head of business development, okay? I think because we have about 20 minutes, right? 20 minutes actually not that long, right? So Dr. Hanafi mentioned just now, once you give a lecturer, in my case, I'm a debater. So once you give a debater the mic, he doesn't want to stop. Right? So I have to time myself properly. Okay. I think the approach taken by Sister Razida just now is very good, because I think I will share anecdotes. Okay, I will share stories that I have actually encountered, and then we draw some lessons from it, I think, rather than me talking about the theory, right? I mean, everybody knows about the theory anyway. I mean, you've been to this program, I think maybe every year, right? So you know this stuff already. So maybe I'll just share some experience with you guys. Okay. So first thing first, right? How did I get into aerospace? Okay. Because never in a million years I actually imagined I would be in aerospace, right? In fact, when I first joined UIA, I was not even an engineering student. Okay. After SPM, I got all the scholarships that I applied, but all of them are engineering. But I wanted to do medicine, just like Sister Zida just now. So I went to UIA instead. 1 week in UIA medicine, I decided I don't want to do medicine. I jumped to engineering, right? Because yeah, the reason is because when I look at my friends, right, that was doing medicine, I think I cannot do that. I cannot study all the time, because I'm quite active in the co-curricular activities. I like to join clubs and all that. So I don't think medicine is for me. So I wanted to do pharmacy, but they wouldn't let me. They said I can only go to nursing. So I said, okay, I don't want to do nursing. Then I went to engineering. Okay. So even when I went into engineering, it was not my first plan. Right. So I went into engineering. I took manufacturing because that's the easiest one to get to at that time. I completed my studies. I was not a straight A student, far from it, actually. I'm still thankful I graduated, to be honest. Right. And then after that, after my engineering degree, I actually spent about 3 years working outside of engineering. So I was not doing engineering at all. Okay. So because I started working before I graduate, and the reason is actually quite stupid, and I'm sharing this so that you won't make the same mistake as I did. I forgot to take my tilawah too, so I had to take 1 full semester just for tilawah too. So I only have 2 hours class, right? 1 per week for 1 whole semester. So that's why I had so much time. What I did was I got a job as an admin executive at that time, in a cleaning company, right? Nothing to do with engineering. And then after that, I started working there, and then I did some stuff. They liked me. Then they promoted me to a business development role. And then because the same owner actually had another chemical trading company, so he brought me into the chemical trading company. I became the business development executive. And then within 2 years, within 2.5 years, they created a new company and they put me as the business development manager at that company. So I started not as an engineer, but as a business development guy. Okay. And the reason I'm telling you this is this. Okay. I mean, the reality here is that, when you graduate, right, there's no guarantee that you will get an engineering job. Right. There's no guarantee, right? Sometimes you just have to take what's offered to you. Okay. But the most important thing here is that you have to learn from whatever you take. All right. Because there's no job in the world, and I promise you this, there is no job in the world that offer you zero learning. Okay, you will always learn something from any job you take. All right, and that is very important. And I'll tell you why it's important, okay? Because I spent my years, the first year working with, a cleaning company. So I dealt a lot with, foreign workers. And then the second and third year, I dealt a lot with businessmen, right? And then on my third year after graduation, I got an offer from Strand Aerospace Malaysia at that time as a graduate engineer, which came as a big surprise to me, right? And another story that I want to tell you, right? And there's a lesson in this, is my interview. Okay, so like I mentioned, I was a debater in UIA, right? So I gave a lot of interview, sort of like talk to people, right? But this actually happened to me real time, right? Real life. So I went to the interview with Strand Aerospace, and me not being an aerospace student, right? I have no idea what Strand is, right? I have no idea what aircraft structure is, right? So I did call a few of my friends, our mutual friends, Dr. Hanafi's friends, like Faruqi, for example. I called him up. I said, hey, Strand ni apa? And then they were like, whoa, how did you get the interview and all that? I said, I don't know. They just called me. I just went to the interview. So what happened in the interview is this, right? In the interview, right, there were two interviews. The first one was with the HR people. The second one is the technical. The HR, I did very good, because I'm talkative, I'm very friendly, and then the guy is friendly. So we hit it off. It was good. And then he said, okay, good, I like you. The next one will be with our CEO or COO, and that will be technical. Then right after the interview, I called my mom. I said, yeah, I tried my best. I will not get this job. And that's what I told my mom after that. Right. But then I went to the interview. Okay. So the first question he asked me was this. Okay. The first one, he said, okay, so you're not from Aero. What do you know about about aircraft? Then I just said to him, oh yeah, all the show I watched, aircraft crash investigation. Yeah, I know those things. All right. And if you know my CEO, currently he's the CEO of Singularity now. Back then he was the COO of Strand. He was the one to read me. He has a very stoic face, no emotion.
Hafiz.
Okay? So he didn't laugh.
Is it Hafiz?
Hafiz, yes. That's right. So it was bad, right? I tried to crack it, didn't work. Okay, that's fine. And then he said, okay, draw me a rib. I'm sure all of you knows what a rib is, right? The wing rib. Yeah. I didn't know because I was a manufacturing student. So in my mind, I had, okay, you know what? I'll take an educated guess here, I look at the fuselage. I know there are frames, right, in the fuselage. It looks like, human ribs. So I just drew I drew a fuselage. I draw the frame. I said, yeah, so those are the ribs. Of course, it's wrong, right? And of course, he doesn't have any emotion, right? He just looked at me straight and said, that's not a rib. And then there was awkward silence for like 10 seconds. Okay, so what do you do? What do you do? What I did was I said to him, well, to be fair, I never manufactured an aircraft before. So I don't know how a rib looks like. Okay, and then he laughed. Okay, so okay, that's a fair point. Okay, what I'm trying to say is this. What I'm trying to say is you have to acquire the skills of thinking on your feet. Okay, you have to be spontaneous. Okay, you cannot be so uptight all the time, right? You have to relax sometimes. You have to think very quickly. I believe everyone has this. It's just that you have to get used to talk to people, mingle around. I think what Dr. Hanafi mentioned just now is very important. Okay, life skills, it's very important. He's absolutely right when he says that, yes, the degree, all the courses that you are taking, that will help you to become an engineer, to do the analysis. But number one, you have to actually get into the company for you to become that. How do you get that? Is by acing your interview. How do you ace your interview? It's all life skills that you are going to obtain, right? So that's why when you are in uni, this is the best time. It's the best time for you to learn all these skills, all right? How to talk to people, how to talk to your superiors, as in your lecturers, how to talk to your subordinates if you're a committee member of a program. How do you talk to suppliers? How do you talk to customers? How do you talk to experts, the foreign experts and all that? All of this you can learn from university. If you don't, then it's a big loss for you, okay? So it's good that now you are participating in this program, right? And then when I say participating, you don't have to be the champion of everything. Sometimes, what you need to do is just sit down, just listen and observe. Okay, that is enough because you get more exposure. And then when, life throws you all these challenges like what I had in my interview, you know what to do, at least, right? To just break the ice, right? So that it will not get awkward, okay? Okay, so I managed to get that job, right? And then I joined. So at that time, when I first joined Strand Aerospace, it was under the ETP program, the Economic Transformation Program. So what they had was they had this hiring of batches, right? And I was in batch number 4, and each of the batch they hire about 10 people. Okay, so when I first joined, There were 9 people in my batch, and I was the only one out of 2 graduates that are not from aerospace. Okay, so there's another guy who graduated from Marine. I was from manufacturing, and the rest are all aeronautics. Okay, and out of that 9, only 3 graduated from local universities. The rest are from US, from UK, from Germany, from Australia. So when I first joined, right, and then because it's a program under the government at that time, my induction was very long. Okay, it was about 4 weeks. Okay, so the first week, the chief engineer actually had the session with us. Okay, so they were discussing about aircraft, about wing design and all that. So all this stuff, aerostructures and all that. And obviously, I was completely oblivious to what they were saying. Right, I had no clue what they were talking about, and I felt very, actually, I felt very down. So by Friday, which is the last day of that first week, I actually went to see the engineer. His name is Dr. Shea. Dr. Shea, he's a UK, he's a British, yeah, Dr. Shea. All right. So I went to see him. I went to see him in his office, and I said, Shea, I don't think I belong here. I said to him, okay, I said to Shea, I don't think I belong here. And he said, why? He said, no, because the thing is, I think I have to do a lot of catching up. People are talking about things that I don't even understand, right? So I'm always on my back heel trying to learn what other people have already known. So I don't think this is the right fit for me, right? And then what he said after that was the turning point of my life, to be honest, because what he said to me was, Afif, the reason, the very fact that you are here in this room saying this to me tells me that you belong in this room. You see, because what he's saying is that, right, the first thing you need to do to learn is to understand that you do not know, right? So this is a mentality that you have to have when you first join a company, all right? It doesn't matter if you are the top student. It doesn't matter if you've read a lot, right? You always have to have that humility in you and recognize that you are the new guy, all right? But in the same time, you cannot be inferior, all right? Because inferiority and humility are 2 different things. You have to differentiate them, all right? Humility is where you are willing to listen, right? Inferiority is where you are not willing to try to learn. Those are 2 different things. You have to be humble, but do not have inferiority complex, all right? And from there, I managed to actually get my senior engineer title within 4 years, right? The normal period was 8 years. I did it in 4 years. I was the first one to get promoted to senior position from my batch, all right? And I'm the outsider, okay? So that shows, when you have the right attitude, taking from what Sister Rajita just said just now, when you have the right attitude, that's what drives you. Okay, because when you join the industry, nobody will stop you from reading your books, opening up the textbooks, Googling the heck out of Google just to get an answer. Nobody will say you cannot do that. You can. You can go and ask the chief engineer, you can go ask the senior engineer, you can ask anyone if you don't know anything, right? But the challenge is to go and ask. If you do not know how to do that, right, with the right attitude, right, with the right mindset, then you cannot do it. Okay, so that is one of the lessons that I want to share with you. Okay, and I think the last one that I want to share is this. Okay, this is a bit more technical, all right? Technical in the sense that because we are engineers, okay, and like what Sister Rajita said just now, because I chose, because once you are in engineering, right, you are working in an engineering firm, there are 2 paths in front of you, right? You either become a principal engineer, the best, in your field, right, technically, or you can go down the road of management, right? You become a management, right? I went down the road of management, but I was initially asked to go down the road of technical, right? The reason I went to management is because nobody was doing that. Nobody was willing to go down that road. So I had to go down that road, right? But I had the 2 options, okay? So what I want to tell you is this, okay? How do you, number one, fast track your career, and how do you become an exceptional engineer? The first thing that you have to have is engineer's mentality, all right? This is something that I think missing from a lot of our graduates, okay? When I say engineering mentality, we have to understand, right? As an engineer, what's our main purpose, right? What do we do actually? When your future kids, right, come and ask you, what exactly do you do as an engineer? What do you say? Because to me, engineer, we are just solving problems. That's what we do. We solve problems using science. Okay, whatever scientific finding, whatever technology that's out there, it's on us to actually apply that to a solution, right? To find a solution. That's all we do. Okay, so when I say engineering mentality, you have to approach everything, as a problem solver. Okay, and this is where it's important. You have to understand context and intent. Okay, context and intent, two very important things. Okay, why? I give you an example. Okay, so when my first overseas deployment, the first time the company sent me to Germany, right, back in 2013. So I was about 1 year in the company, and then they decided to send me to Germany to support my now chief engineer, Raven. Raven, I think he's actually one of the panel, right, in your industrial panel. So I was sent to Germany to support Raven, my chief engineer, on the fatigue and damage tolerance project of an aircraft. All right, so a Boeing 767, they wanted to convert it to a VIP aircraft. So they have about 550 points that they have modified on the structure, right, on the frame, on the upper shell, as well as the floor beams, the floor structure. So just imagine 550 points. Okay, so if stress analysis, right, certification and all that, you have to actually check all this modification and make sure that they do not risk the airworthiness of the aircraft, right? So normal engineer, what they will do is that you get the drawing for the 550 points, you start the calculation right away, right? You start all the static calculation, you look at the FNDT, and you start doing analysis, crunching the numbers of 550 points for you to be able to come up with a report sent to EASA. That is what an average engineer would do. All right, but my boss at that time, David, he's one of the top engineers I've ever met in my life, and he's Malaysian. Okay? He managed to actually a 57 pages report to substantiate 550 points of modification with only one calculation. Okay, so that is something that was never done even by the European engineers at that company. We managed to do that. Why did we do that? Because we put our engineering hat. What's the intent here? What are we trying to do? We are not trying to show numbers. We are trying to convince them that all the modification will not tamper with the aircraft safety. How do we do that? You see, so the way we approach is different. So as an engineer, you have to approach it like that. You can either context, right? You have to understand the intent, what we're trying to solve. Okay, so that is very important. So when we know that we just won't have to show, and we know that, okay, the kind of modifications is actually quite similar to the original design, but elsewhere in the aircraft, for example. So we do a lot of engineering judgment, pass by comparison, right? We just have to write down the judgment. Okay, why this is okay, because the pitch is like this, the behavior, the aircraft will not bend like this and that. So we managed to actually do everything in 57 pages, right? And we finished about 2 weeks or 3 weeks early, the project, okay? That is someone that you have to become a good engineer, okay? Put your engineering hat. When you have a problem, when you have something that you have to do, don't just go straight, dive into it technically, okay? Dapat dia, question, just start crunching numbers. Dapat the design, just start, do all the CAD drawing and all that. Don't do that. Take a step back, right? Think like an engineer. What am I trying to do here? What am I trying to achieve? What is the company trying to achieve? How do I do this in the quickest and cheapest, simplest way possible? Okay, that's engineering thinking that you have to have. All right, and like what Dr. Hanafi said just now, these are the things that you will not learn from uni. Okay, so for those who actually miss this session, you will miss this lesson lah. So that is why important you join this kind of program of session. Okay. I think that's it. My time is up. If you have any questions, I think after this we have a Q&A session. So I'm more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
I was attracted to what Brother Afif mentioned about engineering thinking. I have a debate, not kind of debate, this kind of talk with one IR. So he was saying what the difference between engineers and a doctor. When a doctor kill a person, people will say it's a fate. But when an engineer make a mistake and kill people, it's your mistake. People will not say it's a fate. So it's a huge responsibility actually, engineer.
Yes. Yes.
Betul lah. Tapi skill of taking step back to view the overview tu memang dia tak belajar dalam kelas tu.
Tapi betul. In my field pun the same thing. That's why I think
I imagine.
you have to find the root cause. Go behind. Go. Not just at the first surface. It's not like answering question papers. No,
Dia
it's a
macam
solving a question.
it is like a wisdom tau. Sister Najah student, it is like a wisdom. Dia macam ni tau. Dia bijak lah. Okay, dia ada level smart. Orang smart ni lain. Okay, dia ada atas lagi orang berhikmah, wisdom. Itu lain lagi. So dia punya hierarchy tu macam tu. Bijak, the people by the book okay, jadi ni. My one experience ni Afif and also Madrazida, during my time, kalau you all masih ingat MOM, Mechanics of Material. Okay, kan dia ada nak study internal load, kan dia kena cut cross section kan, cut resolution. So dalam buku asyik tulis cut, lepas tu kita analyse yang sebelah kiri saja. Sebelah kiri contohnya. So banyaklah student okay cut belah kiri kan. Kemudian kata, apa pasal nak cut nak solve yang belah kiri saja sedangkan dia punya unknown banyak. Bukan ambil belah kanan kadang-kadang saya. Lagi mudah, simple. Engineer kan suka benda-benda mudah kan. Ambil yang belah kanan, so dapat jawapan yang sama je pun. Nampak? See? So when you think like an engineer, itulah dia ada skill lain lah tu. Skill lain, view things in a different ways.
Yeah.
Alright. Sister Najah, question and answer. You muted.
Sorry. Thank you so much to our speakers for the excellent sharing session with all of us. Now we will have a quick Q&A session. You can open the mic or you can ask and type it on the chat box if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll go with the Google Form questions.
Oh, ada ke? Is it okay if I take intern after my final year? Okay. Ni soalan kita orang lah, akademik kan, kena jawab kan in the chat room.
Yeah, it's Hanafi.
Is it okay if I take intern after my final year? Yeah, it's okay, it's fine, but your study period will be longer. The advantage is if you are taking the internship after your final year, after your FYP for example, after FYP, the advantage is you can do your internship much longer than diserap, and then you go into that particular company as they will take you as a employer lah. That is the advantage. But the disadvantage is your degree will be much longer. Alright.
Okay, thank you. And the next question is, what does it take to become an astronomical engineer, and is it possible to work with big companies such as SpaceX, NASA, Boeing if you graduated from Malaysian University? Is it possible?
Macam ni.
Okay.
If you want to work in those US big gun company, NASA kah, SpaceX kah, the first thing that you must have is number one, requirement dia adalah American citizen. Number two is a green card holder. Okay, to get this, of course American citizen tak boleh lah. You are Malaysian. So to get the green card, you must at least stay there for several years. Itu another possible way. So means apa? Means if you want to further your study, go to US and then get that green card. Macam like a Dr. Amani did waktu he did his PhD there. So dia kecuali except you are very excellent, you are very talented from Malaysia and all those you are well known in global, in international. Kecuali benda tu lah. So other than that, it is that two requirement. Like myself, okay, even though I graduated in the UK for my PhD, I cannot simply do my postdoctoral position in the US, in NASA, because I don't. The requirement stated there, American citizen or green card holder. That's the thing. So untuk nak dapatkan green card, go further study kat situ lah. That is my answer. Maybe Afif, you would like to answer?
I think if the question is about space, right? Space, yes, it's quite guarded lah, right? So even Boeing and like even Airbus, not yet, for example, Airbus Space punya division, They are quite particular in that you have to have the EU citizenship and all that. Okay, so space is a bit challenging if you are aspire to go to space in the program. Okay,
Astronautic.
but yes, astronautic. So but not to say that we don't have, because for example, if you know Izmir Yamin, so he's the CEO of Independence X. So he's one of the Malaysian companies that actually went to the final stage of the Google Luna project. I think Google Luna Prize, is it?
Luna X.
Yeah, Luna X. Okay, so we do have the local outfits that actually do that. Okay, so but that is for space lah, for astronautical, right? But if you're talking about aeronautical, right? If you're talking about aerospace, right? You'll be surprised how many Malaysian engineers you will find all over the world working in aerospace. Okay, when I mentioned just now, right, do not be inferior. One of the reasons why I'm so confident saying that is because the company has sent me to so many places lah. I went to Germany, UK, US, Canada, France, right, Japan, and almost all of the places I go, I'll find Malaysian engineer working there. Okay, because we have a lot of advantage. Okay, technically we are on par, right, with the rest of the world. Okay, but we also have the advantage of language. Okay, our English is much easier to understand. Okay, if you compare to other English. Okay, even our biggest competitor in engineering service, which is India, right? One of our biggest advantage is actually that our English language. Okay, but the thing is, right? I spent, for example, in 2014, I was in the UK for 1 year, so I was a checker. Right? I checked engineering works done by Russian, UK, and Malaysian engineers and Indian engineers. Okay, and I was only 29 at that time. Okay, so you can imagine, all right, that actually it's not so high. I mean, when you talk about Boeing, talk about Airbus, do not set that these companies are out of reach. Okay, because we are as good, if not better than them, to be honest, seriously. Okay, my experience when I first got the checking work, I had to check Indian company called Infosys, right? So I had to check their engineering work. I was having migraine throughout the whole week. Okay, trying to find, I cannot find where did you get this number? Where did you get this drawing? Right? But the next one, I had to check Malaysian, Spirit Aerosystem in Subang. Right? I had to check Malaysian. I was so happy. I completed my checking in 2 days. You see, because we were so good, right? Malaysian engineers, they did the work so good, right? So my point is that, always be ambitious, right? Do not be inferior. Yes, you can. All the technicalities, like what Dr. Hanafi said, it's there. Those are the challenges. Sometimes you just have to know when you have to stop because you just cannot do it, right? But it's not because your ability. It's not because you are Malaysian. It's not because you are from UIA. I graduated from UIA. I have engineers from Emory Riddle. I have engineers from Cranfield working for me now. Okay, and I graduated from UIA. Okay, so it's not impossible. Okay, it's not impossible. It's doable.
That is aeronautics.
Yes, that is for aeronautics. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then I think for fresh graduate, don't aim for a big company first. Like Mr. Afif and I, we start with a local small company where you gain a lot of experience and skills. Rather than you jumping to the big company, you learn less because it's already specify your job description rather than in a small company. Small company, you get a bigger views, bigger skills, and more challenge, which is supposed to do for the fresh engineer. Same like, like a doctor, they go for like 48 hours for the first year of medical practice because you don't go aim for a big company. It's a waste if you will start your career in a big company. Sorry to say, but then that is true. And then the money will come and then the networking will come and you will go joining them as a, like Mr. Afif, become as a manager rather than you start as a fresh, it's better.
Right. Thank you so much to all the speakers for the answering. The next question is, engineers nowadays, why is it common for engineer graduate to work outside their studied course? Like Brother Afif, he studied in manufacturing, but work as an aerospace staff. Why is it always like that?
Okay. Well, to me, in my case, it's just a matter of opportunity. Right, at that time, the right opportunity that came along, I grabbed the opportunity. I ended up here, right? But I think the more pertinent question, right, is can you expect to work in whatever you want to work, right? Or should you be prepared, that you are not getting, you will not be getting what you want, lah. Okay, because I think there are two motivations lah to anyone going for a career, right? One is obviously the money. Okay, so people will go for the money. For example, you can go into oil and gas and you find all kind of background in oil and gas, but they are there because oil and gas pays well, right? But you can also find people because they have the passion, right? And like aerospace, okay. In Malaysia, aerospace is not as big as other countries, but we still produce aerospace graduates quite a lot every year, for example, right? It's because most of the aerospace graduates, their passion is in aerospace, right? Why? It's because opportunity, right? Either it's limited or you just got the opportunity, right? And then another is because when you don't get the opportunity, you cannot just pause your life, right? You have to move on, right? So you have to move on. So to me, right, my advice is this: do not lose, do not lose your sight from what you want to become. Let's say you want to become an aerospace engineer, okay? Keep that ambition, okay? But be realistic. You have to evaluate your life every day. Okay, so now I have to do this. It's okay, I'll do this first, but I still have that ambition of going into aerospace, right? Another thing I wanted to talk about just now, is actually about strategic planning. Okay, when you approach your career, do it with a strategic planning hat. Okay, because everything you do, you have to have strategy. Simple example: when you join a company, do not go and mingle only within your rank. Alright,
Exactly.
so you're junior engineer, you lepak dengan junior engineer. You akan jadi junior engineer lah selamanya. Okay.
You learn nothing.
Exactly. So you have, when you go in, like my style is, I go into a company or into a department, I will scan, I will read everybody. I will see, okay, who are the people that can break walls to get where they want to go. I just follow them. Right? They will break walls for me. I'll just walk in. You see? So you have to have that kind of mentality.
Muka tebal lah,
okay?
kena muka tebal.
Your colleague will talk behind you lah, but then they don't care about your money, they don't care about your problem, and they don't care about your career path. So who cares about them?
Exactly.
Yeah, who cares about them?
Yeah.
Siti Najah, I just want to add 2 points pasal soalan tu regarding that question. Number one is why people from engineering lepas tu dia pergi ke tempat lain ataupun bidang lain lah, macam Mr. Afif from manufacturing to aerospace. You have to see this thing. Bila kerja, when you work, dia multidisiplin tau. Dia cross discipline. Aerospace, they do have material. Aerospace, they do have manufacturing. Ada electrics, ada electronics. Dia macam tu, dia multidisiplin, dia memang cross. Tapi bagaimana how do you want to stand up is you sell yourself, sell your degree, your knowledge, your intellect, your emotion, especially during the interview. How do you market yourself? Dengan asas all the fundamental knowledge, sorry my son, all the fundamental knowledge that you gain, how you portray. We give you the degree from aerospace engineering. Tak ramai, only 3 universities we have this. UPM, UAE, USM. Okay, we give you the advanced, benda yang terkedepan, advanced technology. When you learn about structure, look at the aircraft structure kan. It is a semi-monocoque. You want to be kuat, high strength, but you must be in light. Okay, how do you produce this? So, bila awak kerja, for example, in oil and gas, so you know this, dah tahu dah benda-benda yang paling kuat, yang paling advanced. Why don't you apply this dekat oil and gas? So, benda tu macam tu. You sell yourself, you market yourself. Alright? Okay, thank you.
Regardless whatever you be lah. Even though kalau kata one of my friend, until now she's become customer service. She's graduated with engineer and first class, but then she become a customer service. But then an excellent customer service. Why? Because she has engineer thinking. What is engineer thinking? Cost effectiveness, safety, and time limit. So regardless, so engineering is a knowledge. So but then it's vast. Don't be too rigid, because life is something to be enjoyed. So why
colorful.
Yeah, colorful. Why make it rigid?
Okay.
Just just get challenged.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all the speakers. A big appreciation to all our speakers for making time to join us this eventful afternoon to share their experiences and stories. It does indeed enlighten us about our future careers in the industry. Before we end our session, let us take some pictures to remember this memorable event. It would be great if